welcome to the 50th episode of Schwa!
Whoa! Are we doing something special?
You know what? Every week is special, Phelan.
Translation, no!
No! We don't have anything planned. Well, the show didn't either, to be fair.
Yeah, they didn't celebrate this with
This
us.
is their 50th episode, too. And, well, it is what it is. You don't get to celebrate till 100.
Yeah, there's an episode trapped in a bag.
Sunshine in a bag. Is that anything?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Please, I'm your cousin. Your mother abandoned the family and stole the Book of Shadows. I'm here to get it back.
So tonight we watch Season 3, Episode 9, No Hablo, Brujeria. Brujeria? Were they saying Brujeria the whole time, or Brujeria? I feel like I'm saying it wrong.
I don't know.
I think it's Brujeria. Maybe. Either way. Speaking of titles, I didn't mention last time, I kind of spaced it when we were recording, but so last episode it was called Oh, the Tangled Web, but that was a change from the original title, which we had mentioned at the end of the last episode, and then I didn't remember, but so it used to be called 99 Problems and a Witch Ain't One. But according to Twitter, they had some legal issues, so they had to change it.
Oh.
So, in case anyone was curious, no, they didn't skip an episode. We didn't skip an episode. That's what last week was.
Okay.
But they had to change it. Happy 50th!
Yeah.
Yay! You want to jump into this, Phelan?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So, the first scene. Macy and Harry are in the attic. They are looking at the tablet that has just been reunited, the two pieces, so they're trying to translate that. During the process, they quote Paula Abdul's Opposites Attract. Sorry, Paula Abdul and Scat Cat, MC Scat Cat.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, we take 2 steps forward, 2 steps back, something like that.
Thought it was by Neelix and Tuvok.
That's Tuvix's Attract. It is a distinct song. So yeah, they're frustrated. They can't figure this out. Harry's like, well, it turns out this tablet's in extinct demon language. So, what does that mean though? Like, so there's like demonic languages that like the demons went extinct and no one can translate them anymore? Like,
I guess. I guess
there's like dinosaur demons?
Yeah, there's probably demon races that I guess died out. Especially if they just go to get their marriage consolation from their demon leader and they get thrown out a window for no reason.
You know what? They're everything's just been a mess in the demon world forever. When are they going to get their shit together? They could have used Fenric the Vile to figure out some of the filing and stuff instead of all this shit's going on with the canes.
Yeah.
I bet that all happened with, like, Parker, too. Like, they were around, but then, like, he was too busy on Instagram, like, showing people his guitar stuff, and then, like, they were killing off all the demons, and he's like, what, bro? I don't know.
Were those the last ones? Oops. Let me play a song in memoriam.
Can you imagine? They go to Fenric with a vial, and he's like, who's the demon overlord now? And they're like, oh, let me open up Instagram for you. Like, what? 200 years ago, I tried to take over, and now there's a fucking Instagram guitar wiener boy?
I feel so bad that I let those demons die.
Don't worry, like, he's pretty cool when he's in an Apple Mania, though. He's a pretty good ruler then. What the fuck?
Better not be my apples.
Well, anyway, this tablet's in an extinct demon language, and immediately Macy's like, oh, all right, let's go get Abigail. This is the clip that they decided to show on the Charmed Twitter account as, like, a preview. Like, they're like, oh no, we gotta go get Macy, or we gotta go get Abigail to translate this. Ugh, I just can't be bothered. You do it, Harry. Alright. I'm like, is this a good promo? Is it...
translations that no one really wants to get done.
It was labeled Everything Leads Back to Abby. And it's like, what? Are people excited about that?
No.
Like,
Why the hell did you do that?
Does this entice fans to see a minute-long clip going like, ugh, I am miffed? Yeah, I hear that.
I don't want to see Abigail, you have to. Don't miss the next charm!
I don't blame the people on the Twitter account, because I don't know what particular minute of screen time you could grab and say, hey, check this out.
But Jordan going, this is my high school. What? Well, Jordan has to go back to high school? What? And then someone turning their head, what? On the next change.
Perfect.
Yeah. There you go. Do your next promo like that, guys.
Yeah. I'm a little conflicted on this episode, as far as Macy's character goes, because there's this whole subplot with her and Jordan, and a lot of it has to do with connecting over blackness. I don't know if they necessarily say it as obviously as that, but that's what it is. You know, there's this stereotype about angry black people. Why are you so angry all the time? Or you have to make sure that you are, as they put it, exceptional, or you get this backlash. And so a lot of this is about, like, you have the right to be angry. You don't have to always bottle it in.
Right. It's also, just about them, penning stuff up and not releasing it too.
Yeah, but a lot of it does connect to their blackness, which is why at the ending they have that talk about it's nice to talk to someone who understands without having to explain it. Mm-hmm. So there is that underlying it.
Yeah.
At the same time, Macy's character it's hard for me to get behind her these days, because she's either boring or angry, and I don't want to feed into any stereotypes. I just feel like as a character she's lost a lot of this vibrancy that she had, if that makes sense.
Being grouchy for no reason, at times with Jordan and stuff too. It's like when they get thrown in the magic bag dimension and she's like, oh, this is based on you because you got in front of me. She's mad this isn't based on her.
Yeah, she does say a lot of things that are kind of jerky things, though. I guess to be fair, I think this is because the episode is trying to push toward her asking him why he isn't angry, and she's still upset about the stuff with the Shea group. So I think part of that's just kind of, not necessarily bad writing, but clunky writing.
It's definitely clunky. And just because she's mad at the Shea group, it's just, they make her mad at everyone else without cause.
Yeah.
It's like she can be dealing with that without just lashing out at anyone for saying anything. Yeah,
but I mean, that's just human, though.
Well,
just to lash
out. To a degree, yeah. But I mean, for no reason, there's more understandable times for her to be lashing out if something gets her upset, It's just hi, Macy, what's that supposed to mean?
Yeah, I think part of it's just the way that this show, it's just clunky. The show's clunky. I get what they're getting at, but it's I don't know, mixed emotions on this.
Yeah, we were talking about that last episode too, and that woman, she was just an independent contractor, right? Hired by a Carman Corp.
Yeah, she was damage control. She was there to kind of fix their image up.
Yeah, so it didn't make any sense that she'd be allowed to kick Macy out of a Carman Corp building.
Yeah, I don't know.
With security. She's an actual employee of them, and this woman wouldn't be.
Yeah, well, she would be hired by them. She's hired as part of the damage control.
Yeah, but someone who's an independent contractor isn't suddenly in charge of your building.
Yeah, it depends, I guess, what building they were in. It was for the Shea group, yeah?
I'm pretty sure it said their name on the front of it.
Yeah. I'm not really sure on the hierarchy here, but yeah, it doesn't really make a lot of sense, but...
Mm-hmm. But anyway, back to the bag story.
To the bag story. We've been jumping around a little bit. So basically, they got to go get Abigail to translate this tablet. Macy is like, look, I don't want to deal with her. She's done a lot of shit. Harry, can you do it? He's like, all right, I guess. So Harry leaves, and the doorbell rings. And Macy goes downstairs, and it's George Binks! He's looking for Maggie, but she's at class. I don't know why he wouldn't know that, because she probably has a pretty set schedule. But they're like, well, Maggie's gonna be home a little bit, so why don't you just wait? And he's like, all right, so I think maybe I can like end my curse. I'm kind of working on some stuff about this curse thing, so I need Maggie's help for that. He accidentally touches Macy. They get zapped, and she bitches at him for being careless.
Yeah. It's like, you gotta be more careful.
I understand a little bit. I mean, it's been a while, and he's still like,
well, okay, I understand in one way if this was ever consistent, but it's not. And like in the next shot, Macy and Jordan are like standing shoulder to shoulder. So they're closer than they were in this last shot where it's like, oh, you can't get that close. Anyway, we're right beside each other.
Well, I think he touched her though, right? When they got zapped?
No, he just kind of got close. They were like, a bit apart, and then the zap happened between them, and then they were standing closer than that in the next shot. I'm like, yeah, I don't blame Jordan, I guess, because this thing isn't consistent.
It just does it when it's funniest.
Yeah.
There's no allergy, it's just funny doing it this way. So they hear some glass breaking, and they run in to see what's going on. I need the Book of Shadows, and that's the bottom line.
If you're ready for WrestleMania, give me a hell yeah.
The world's worst Steve Austin impersonation is over.
What?
Maggie 316
says me.
It says it's the year of me. So they hear some glass breaking. They run in, and this mysterious woman in a cloak is in the house, and she tries to zap Macy with a spell, but Jordan jumps in the way. And that brings us to the opening credits. After that, Mel and Maggie come into the house. They're talking about school stuff, nothing that really relates to anything in the episode. They're like, well, where's Jordan at? He like texted me to say that he was waiting for me. Should have been here.
Mel's like, I don't know, maybe he's dead. And Maggie's like, oh yeah, I guess.
Yeah, that would track. You notice like Mel's jacket is like kind of like it's open and the flaps kind of hang out so that from the profile like it like covers up everything.
Yeah.
Kind of a flappy jacket. So but where is Jordan? Jordan is with Macy. They're in a hyper exposed version of Jordan's high school. Like the exposure is way up, so it's kind of bright.
Yeah, it's got all that soft lighting. It's like they're in heaven version of high school.
Yeah.
Very, I don't know, I feel like they could have gone with a different way to make this look weird.
They could have just had normal coloring and not tinted it like the ugly colors the show usually has, and they'd be like, oh.
Yeah, whoa, why does this look normal? That's different.
Yeah. I guess it's a way, especially because this episode jumps around a lot like all of them do, to kind of make it visually distinct. So to be like, okay, this is not in the real world. Yeah. But yeah.
I think maybe if you just did the soft lighting even to a degree without the overexposure, it would have worked as making it feel kind of off.
Yeah. It's a little ugly, but the show is a little ugly in general. I
felt it made it too much like, a heaven-looking thing.
Like they were dead?
Yeah, I'm just like, what?
I do think it's ugly, but yeah, you're right. It does kind of give a different vibe, like they died. But anyway, they're there in the high school. Jordan's like, hey, there's my old girlfriend. There's all this stuff. Someone bumps into him and is like, hey, what's up, Jordan? So he's quantum leaped into his younger self.
Yeah. With only Macy that only he can see in here.
Yeah. This is Quantum Jordan.
Yeah. Macy, why haven't I leaped? You gotta break the curse first, Jordan.
She's got to put right what once went wrong with Mortimer Muffins.
Yeah. And
then he can leap out, and Macy is the hologram in this situation.
Exactly. It's exactly how it went, too.
Yeah.
So this should be your favorite episode of Reboot Charmed ever.
Well, I can tell you it wasn't.
Quantum leap.
That's quantum leap?
Yeah.
It needs to have like 100% more Galvin in it to make me like it.
This is wild. I'm back.
This is wild. If he saved Galvin in this flashback, maybe. Before they can put right what once went wrong, Macy bitches at him for trying to save her. Like, yeah, because you jumped in front of me. We're both in here.
Yeah. No, it's about you.
Now we're stuck in your stupid high school.
This could have been about me, Jordan. It's a very Maggie moment for Macy.
Yeah. Everyone's mad at each other in this episode, and everyone's kind of mad at each other in general, aren't they?
Yeah.
Or annoyed or smug.
Though they get over it really quick in one instance. A lot of them get over things very easily in this episode, actually.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't think of it that way. Never mind.
Hey, well, here's our favorite character, Abby. Good old Abby. My Abby. She's being smug. You'll be surprised to know.
What? Not our Abigail.
I will say this, there were points in this episode where I could see a different version of Abigail that's more tolerable because she wasn't smug because of magic, sort of. It wasn't great, but it wasn't smug, and I think that made her less annoying to me.
Yeah. There's one thing I think they could have improved on, too, like if, when they met the other demon guy, if she was never on top with him, that would have helped, I think, too.
If she was never on top with him?
Like, she never felt like she was the one in control of that situation, if this guy was scary to both of them.
Oh, yeah. Well, one thing about this episode, I'll say, I feel like they had... I think all of this, the plots really had potential. I don't think they were really bad plots, but I think there wasn't enough time for all of them, because like all of them seemed very rushed, because you have 3 plots that could have been their own episodes.
Yeah, I agree. There is like a good idea of maybe a couple episodes sandwiched in what we actually got here.
Like, even the Abigail stuff, I feel like there is a plot in there that could have been something. I don't like Abigail, but there's stuff in there that was interesting to me.
Yeah, I even liked the idea with this guy. What was his name? Like, Fenric the Mean or something?
Fenric the Weenie.
Yeah, Fenric the Weenie. What was the actual name?
Fenric the Vile.
Fenric the Vile.
My autocorrect kept changing it to generic.
Generic the Vile.
Yeah.
I mean, generic the Vile. I thought there was something interesting there.
There was something. I feel like, and especially because their monsters of the week tend to be monsters of the WEAK lately. So I feel like there was something kind of interesting with that like, I would have wanted to see more, but all of the plots were crammed into 40 minutes, so...
Did this guy give you any Brent Spiner as Dr. Nooney and Soong vibes?
Now he does. Yeah, I can see that. It's pretty good. I wish they'd gotten him. He's way too good for this, though.
Yeah. When I saw him for a split second, I was like, oh, is that Brent Spiner? Oh, no, of course it's not.
If it was Old Charmed, maybe they could have swung him, but this show ain't getting any notable guest stars. So yeah, she's being smug. Harry is asking her for help with the translation. She calls him Harold. And she's like, well, I can't read this tablet, but I know who can. Fenric the Vile.
He's at White Castle, Harold.
Yeah. I wrote Fenric the Vile at one point, too. He's a Fennec fox. Fenric the Vile is, he's pretty old, and he tried to overthrow the Demon Overlord centuries ago. He was pretty violent, pretty bad dude. And Abigail's like, well, I'll help you out with this, because I think that my demon self trying to kill myself is a reckoning here. I gotta redeem myself, so I think, like, if I help you out, this will be part of my path to redemption. And I think, like, this is good that she is taking active steps to redeem herself, not just talking about it and saying, you love me, you love me, you love me. Mm-hmm. It really bothers me that this seems like a warmed over version of Macy's plot, and Macy doesn't mention this anymore, that she used to be part demon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a real loss just to ignore that was ever a thing now.
Like, if you have to have Abigail do it, like, this is better than they've been doing, but the whole, just the fact that it's happened at all, just kind of rubs me the wrong way.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so she's gonna help him with that. Mel and Maggie hear someone in the house, so they go upstairs and they find that witch in the hood. She's looking around trying to find the Book of Shadows. She casts a spell at them. Maggie hits her with her magic staff that she just remembered. How long has it been since that has been around?
Quite a while.
Like, we were just talking about it too. We were like, what happened to their weapons?
Yeah.
And because the writers are listening to the podcast and they rushed this episode out.
Yeah.
They're like, wait, throw that into a scene.
Yeah.
They're starting to notice.
Get that stuff back, quick.
Get that staff back. Hey, what about Mel's whatever knives? What did she have?
Knives.
Some weapon.
Yeah,
something
like that.
Sharp anyway.
Yeah. Her pointy things.
Anyway, those haven't been mentioned again. They're
Mel's
just gone.
Thumbtacks.
Mel's breast dagger from Xena. So anyway, she's like, hey, don't hit me. I'm your cousin. I'm your second cousin, Josefina. Dun, dun, dun. Some of her scenes were hard for me to follow because she talks super fast, she talks in Spanglish, and I'm trying to write down every single piece of exposition they're writing out, and they keep cutting back and forth. So there's a lot going on here for me.
Yeah.
So Maggie and Mel are interrogating her, and they're like, well, why don't we remember you? Like, if you're our cousin, we never heard of you. And she's like, well, maybe you remember me under my dead name. It turns out that she's trans. The actress is trans, so they have a second trans actor on this show now. And I feel like this is better than Kevin, because they're doing things with her and not having her just be like, hey, good job, Mel, with that book thing. See ya!
Is this because they didn't know how to actually incorporate Kevin into anything? So like, let's just make another trans character?
Oh no, is Kevin going the way of like the other love interest they just keep throwing out? Or like, he wasn't a love interest, but...
Yeah.
I hope they don't just throw him away. I hope they figure out something. I don't know. Maybe that was it. And they were like, well, how about we add another, like, family member so we keep the family theme in here, but we have, like, another witch to add to the mix or something.
Maybe. Josefina's introduction is really not good.
She's annoying, but I think on purpose, so...
Yeah, well, it doesn't work. It is a
little bit hard to get behind her at first.
It's an alienating, and then people forgive her for no reason.
Well, she's got kind of that chip on her shoulder about, like, family business, which I suppose you could say parallels maybe the Jordan thing a little bit.
Yeah,
kinda?
But it's not like you go, someone pops in, you're like, hey, who are you? Oh, I'm your cousin. I kidnapped another family member and one of your friends. And you're like,
she's a little bit short-sighted. How old is she supposed to be? Did they say?
I don't know if they said.
I'm gonna look up how old the actress is. She seems pretty young to me. She is... Oh my god, I can't do math. 25?
Okay.
25. Okay, so I guess I thought she was a little younger, but anyway. I don't know. She's a little bit short-sighted with some of the stuff that she does.
Well, it's like, she wants the Book of Shadows, so she's like, yeah, I kidnapped them, give me it back, because it belongs to my family, not yours, and your mom's terrible. Like, another reason that our mom's terrible?
There are a lot of reasons to be mad at her mom, but she's just like, oh yeah, your mom took off from Puerto Rico and took the Book of Shadows with her, and it belongs to our side of the family. And it's like, well, whoop-de-doo, man. Like... Who cares? Like, that's not their fault.
Yeah. Like, she didn't even try to talk to Macy. It's just like, I'm immediately going to try and throw you in a bag.
Yeah.
So it's like kidnapping was the first thought. Like,
yeah. I guess maybe her plan was like, throw her in a bag and then like grab the Book of Shadows, and just in case like you can't find it, then use that as leverage.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, like, she'd just grab it and then let them out and, like...
Well, yeah, obviously, it's like, I'm gonna ransom people, so you're cool.
You think, though, like, okay, so clearly some things have gone wrong, because if someone's cursed when they go in there, it, like... it makes the spell unstable.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, but this is a family of magic users. Someone could be cursed. Like, the chances are, like, more than 0% that someone could be cursed.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't want to, like, commit murder accidentally.
I did love, like, how clunkily that was thrown into there, because at one point Josefina's like, okay, I'll take them out, and it's like, oh, I can't! Well, there'd be no reason I couldn't, unless someone was cursed.
Yeah, like, as if that is the only thing that could possibly go wrong, and specifically meets this situation.
Yeah, it's like, wow, what do you know?
Pretty clunky.
Forget it! I'm not doing it! This episode was badly written!
I mean, I don't know how else you throw that line in there. Maybe they could be like, mentioned something about Jordan's curse, and then like she'd be like, wait, did you say he's cursed? Oh no, this means like the spell's unstable or something like that.
Or they just have to check into it, you know, in between scenes.
Or she could have like listed off things that could go wrong, and they're like, wait, a curse?
Yeah.
That applies.
Yeah.
So at Jordan's high school adventure, Macy's still angry. And she says, I don't have the bandwidth for this.
Yes. Did love that silly one.
So she's still upset about what happened with the Shea group, but they see sort of a magic-y effect nearby, so they go after this...
The magic lockers.
The magic lockers? Meanwhile, Abigail and Harry are off at some random monastery-looking place in the middle of nowhere, like...
Looks like it's like Tibet or something. That's what I thought too.
That must be where it is, because there's clearly like some Asian influence going on there, and it's like in some mountains somewhere. So they go there. This is where Fenric the Vile has been exiled.
Yeah.
They go in. It's very new agey in there. Lots of chill vibes.
There's like a bunch of weed smoke that blows out as soon as Fenric comes out.
If they just showed the interior and didn't show the exterior, I could have believed that this was like any sort of new age shop in Sedona. Because that's what they're all like. They got that same music playing. You got the incense, weed smoke. Yeah. Oh, man.
This guy's so chill. Another person who could have played him for another wrestling reference is RVD. Just comes out, it's all cool when you're Fenric the Vile.
Fenric the Vile was great. He's like this pleasant old man. He comes in there, he's like, hey, welcome!
Yeah.
What up?
Abigail's like, there's a drink! Be on guard!
Yeah. Abigail's just got like a fireball, like she's all worried, and then like he's like, hey, cool, I was gonna make some tea. Can you light this up for me? Thanks.
I guess.
Yeah, so they're like, hey, aren't you Fenric the Vile? And he's just like, yeah, I used to be, but after a couple centuries, like, I've mellowed me out, man. I'm cool now.
Call me Fenric the Mellow now.
Mellow Yellow's my name. And he's like, all right, I'll weed your tablet for you. For free, and then I'll read it afterwards. I'll do that for sure, but I mean, what do I get in return?
Like, some more weed?
All right, man, deal. Abigail's like, you gotta live. Real redemption here for her. You gotta live if you do it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Immediately
being nice to
threats.
Fenric the Vile. Yeah. What did Fenric the Vile ever do to you? This is what got her the demon overlord job. Her skills as a diplomat. Throw you out a window unless you translate this for us. And he's like, all right, cool. So I'm just going to like read your minds now. Puts his hands on them.
So I like too, Abigail's vulnerable in some parts of this instead of being like, I'm Miss Smug on top of everything. You need some more moments like this. And then she immediately tries to be like, I'm the demon overlord, goes all demon face and is throwing Fenric around a bit. It's like, I wish she couldn't have done that to him. I wish he was too powerful for that.
Sirens going by real quick. They're coming to get Fenric the Vile.
Yeah. You're under arrest. Possession.
Can you imagine? He's like, I'll translate translate the tablet for you, and they're like, you violated your probation, he's got weed! Oh!
He's got the weed stone!
So, yeah, I agree. Abigail does show some vulnerability in this episode, so there's a direction. I can only give the show so much credit, because every time I do, they backslide into bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
But here's some credit.
Mm-hmm. Minuscule credit.
Bare minimum.
Half point.
E for effort. So Jordan and Macy, they're examining that magic locker spot. And Macy's like, hey, this spell's unstable. It's pretty warm. We might light on fire. Let's get away from this. And Jordan's like, hey, we need to... They figured out they need a key to get out for some reason. I'm not sure.
They're looking at the lockers, and there's like 2 keyholes in the weird spot. So they're like, we need 2 keys.
Oh, okay. So they need to go on a separate fetch quest here to get the keys to get out.
It's like, I feel like if this world 2 was like more interesting, like a more interesting interpretation of a jumbled version of Jordan's past life, it could have been interesting.
I was glad to get some more about Jordan's past, because he's been a bit of an underdeveloped character at times. Yeah. It's just, it didn't have a lot of time for any of it, so you got pieces of it.
Yeah.
But it didn't feel like it had any emotional punch, or not much of it, because immediately you're going to the next thing. Yeah,
and the execution was clunky, and like the high school part had nothing, and then when they go to him being in the war, it's also just, it's so fast, it comes off kind of silly.
Yeah, I really wish that all 3 of these plots had their own episodes, because like I think all of them had potential to do something. I liked seeing him and Macy especially, because they're characters that haven't interacted that much, except for when he got super pissed at her, which they do talk about.
Yeah, I do like they addressed that. They didn't perfectly address it, because they acted like he was less angry than he was in that scene.
Yeah, it's like, that wasn't angry, you were miffed at best. It's like, no, he was acting super aggressive and weird.
Yeah, it came off super hostile, so you can't pretend it wasn't. He also says something like, that's the only thing that gets me mad. It's like, no, you're people borrowing your first aid gets you pretty mad too. We saw that.
Yeah, and maybe, I don't know, maybe this was partly addressing that people are like, he's super angry. I don't like that he's angry. And it's like, well, they're allowed to be angry sometimes.
You have to bring up the first aid thing if you're going to talk about it.
Yeah. It's good that they talked about this, because like, it is a stereotype about like angry black people, and that they come off aggressive, or that, someone's not smiling so that they look like they're mean or something like that. So there's that. There's also like weird characterizations, like, why are you stealing my first aid kit? And between him and Macy, with that weird fight scene and stuff, he was like an aggressive weirdo before. Oh, yeah. And I feel like this was a better way of talking about it, even if they have to kind of retroactively say like he wasn't that angry. That's okay. I would rather this than how he started.
Mm-hmm. I'd be fine too, though, if they also made fun of the first aid thing in some way, rather than pretend it didn't happen.
Look, people are always stealing his first aid kits, right? It's a scam as old as time.
Phelan. If he had said that, like, she goes, well, that first aid thing was pretty weird. He's like, that was like the 5th time that week someone stole my first aid kit. Like, something weird like that. Chick, what?
I was having a day, and then one of the flashbacks, like, they go to like someone stealing his first aid kit in Afghanistan. He's like, why?
It keeps happening.
It keeps happening. That's his backstory about why he's so possessive of first aid kits.
Yeah. It's like, you can do a serious thing and then have like a little jokey bit in there too.
Yeah, you can throw in 1 or 2 things that don't undercut what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because the stuff with him and his like old high school girlfriend, they're clearly trying to be comedic with it. I don't think it really works, but she's supposed to be kind of a tacky, flaky kind of person.
Yeah, like the joke about the first aid would have been a lot better than that, because that was almost nothing.
Yeah. So he sees one of the keys on a necklace that his old girlfriend's wearing. So he goes over to her. And then we get another scene with Fenric the Vile, who's reading Abigail and Harry's minds to see what they're really there for. He lets them go. Abigail's pretty pissy and tries to kill him. But I mean, like, she says she's gonna, like, cut his head off. So, I mean, like, you can't really blame Fenric the Vile for that one.
Mm-hmm. He's all like, I don't care. Not gonna harsh my mellow, man.
He turns into a Vulcan. He's like, killing me is illogical.
Yeah. It's not gonna get away with what you want.
See, they keep talking about, like, this whole, like, logic versus emotion, and logic without emotion is not good, and emotion without logic in this balance or whatever.
Really anti-Vulcans.
But, like, he is emotional because, like, because he gets pissy at them and starts, like, reading their minds, and then he's got these secret motives and stuff. Not that they don't have motives without emotions, but clearly he's got some axe to grind here.
Oh yeah, he's also jovial too.
Yeah, he comes in, hey, what up?
Yeah, and yeah, like once Harry and Abigail get a hit of this weed stone later, they act like robots, which is not at all how he's acting.
He's had a couple centuries to kind of get a balance here, get a little bit of emotion.
Yeah, his tolerance is lower or higher than theirs now.
It's got to lay some real stink on him, but to get him to that level. Abigail repeats more of Macy's story, which I found kind of boring. Like, she's like, how do you control it, Fenric? Whatever. We've seen this. Fenric's like, well, I'll teach you how to control this if you let me out of exile. And she's like, all right, fine, we'll agree to it. But she doesn't really trust him. She thinks he's up to something. Meanwhile, Josefina, she can't believe that they lost the Book of Shadows. She's like, nah, you wouldn't be that dumb. You got the Book of Shadows somewhere.
You underestimate the charmed one's stupidity.
No, we assure you, we really are that dumb.
Yeah. We were going to throw that thing out. Oh, wait, that was the other ones.
You must be kidding, aren't you?
She keeps insulting their side of the family. Like, you guys are a bunch of jerks. And it's like, what? So their mom left. And that's all they know. Like, what does that have to do with the rest of the family? Nothing.
Yeah. Misblaming, just like Jordan's story.
Misjudgy judge.
Yeah. Getting blamed for what someone else did. I guess it all ties in.
It all comes together somehow. Mel's pretty mad about this, and so Josefina's like, all right, you get the book, or you don't get Macy and Jordan back out of my magic Mary Poppins sack that I've trapped them in. And then the strangest transition. We hear, like, you know how sometimes between scenes you'll hear, like, part of a line from the next scene before you get to it? Mm-hmm. We hear Jordan going, yo! Like, what? Yo! This is, like, his second out of, like, 3 yos this episode. Yo!
That's his thing, saying yo.
Yo, that is wild. He goes, yo! He's, like, calling his girlfriend over. And he's like, hey, can I have that key necklace?
Someone else wore one, so you look terrible in it.
Yeah, you look like shit. Give me that necklace. She's like, all right.
And Macy's like, you dated her?
Next thing you know, I'll find out you dated Swan.
Oh no! Swan's gonna be so pissed!
How do I explain to Swan that I insulted her? I can't face her.
Cut to Swan angrily eating a Gushers.
Drinking a Skinny Marg. Skinny Margs and Gushers. Breakfast of champions. So his old girlfriend's kind of tacky, superficial. She can't see Macy because she's the hologram in this Quantum Leap scenario. Jordan throws out his third yo of the episode. They get the key off of her. Macy makes fun of his old girlfriend, and she's like, well, how come, like, you don't get angry about this stuff? Like, he's just like, whatever, she was how she was. She's like, why don't you get angry? Like, even after, like, I punched you when we were boxing and you didn't get angry. And he's like, what? I was angry. He's like, oh, you were just kind of miffed at me. Like, what? No, he was angry. We saw this episode.
I think that's the first thing that, like, his old girlfriend, like, why weren't you angry at her? me that key!
Yeah, I don't think she said anything particularly mean. She was kind of annoying, but it wasn't worth getting angry over.
No, it was a weird
Especially
thing
when it's someone you don't date anymore, which may or may not even be in reality. Like, this is just all fake people, right? Like, it's not like they actually traveled back in time. They're stuck in a purse somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, because Macy goes like, it's not real, I'm just gonna take it.
Yeah, why didn't they just take it?
I like she is really concerned too when like his fake girlfriend asks for $20 and he's giving it to her. She's like, you're really gonna give it to her? Like,
yeah, now that's just stuck in the purse. You think Josefina like opens her purse and there's like money in there? Like,
a melty $20 bill.
Yeah. Damn it, this always happens. While they're in there, they start to hear a helicopter, and they run into the next hallway, and the door opens into Afghanistan, which you know is Afghanistan because it's piss yellow. Yeah. It is yellow as shit in Afghanistan.
Yeah, like the super soft lighting makes this look really strange too.
This has just become a visual shorthand on a lot of things for like, this is the Middle East. It's yellow, but it's super ugly. It's real ugly. So Jordan is getting really disturbed. He's clearly got some PTSD about the situation. They've talked about it on the show before. And he sees his translator there, who he says died because of him. So he gets really freaked out about that. Meanwhile, Mel, Maggie, and Josefina are talking about the situation. She's like, well, they'll get out of this, out of the purse, when I let them out, or if Jordan works out his issues. And Maggie's like, well, Mel has been working on a recreation of the Book of Shadows, so when you let those two out of your purse, then we'll let you take a look at it. You can't keep it, but you can look at it. And she seems to agree to this, and it's like, okay, either she's dumb for being like, yeah, that sounds cool, even after making this big deal, or they're dumb being like, yeah, you can look at it, we'll trust that you won't try and take it or anything.
Yeah, it's both of them being kind of dumb, and her just being very easily placated after, like, I've come here to get this book, I'm gonna kidnap people, like, I don't care what it takes. You can look at our new one, though. All right.
Like, all right. After talking to you, I guess it's cool. So she tries to take them out of the purse, but she gets burned. And she's like, yeah, and that's when they throw in the clunky. She burned!
Yeah.
That's when they throw in the clunky, like, well, I mean, like, unless someone is cursed, I mean, everything should be fine, right? So the spell's destabilized, and basically the purse is just gonna keep melting, and they're gonna die if they don't get them out of there. Cut to commercial.
Introducing new Fruitomic Punch Gushers with a taste that's gonna drive you fruity.
And then when we come back, Mel is blowing a fan onto Josefina's magic bag. Just blowing a fan on it to cool it off. She's like, well, I can't get them out without killing them. I feel pretty bad about this. I didn't really want to murder anyone over this.
Yeah, alright, super easy forgiveness. Like, it's insane how just like, yeah, it's, we're so sorry, whatever. Like, I guess they got some of Fenric's, like, magic weed rock in there, because they're all just super mellow.
Maggie's like, why don't you ask your family for help in figuring this out? And she's like, well, I can't because I was kicked out, because I want to have powers, but I'm a trans woman. So here's where they get into some lore of the show. Apparently, I don't know if this is just prejudice or some magic rule or what, but it has something to do with biological females having powers, but males don't, or trans women shouldn't or don't. I don't know.
I don't know.
Because Josefina can cast some, like, she can do potions and stuff, but she doesn't have, like, her powers, which she wants to get from the Book of Shadows. And she said her family doesn't support her because she's not biologically female. I don't know if that's just because, like, they just don't approve of it, or it shouldn't happen, or doesn't happen.
Yeah, I don't know. She said they were supportive of her transition, but not having powers.
Yeah. And you can't even really say, like, okay, saying that, like, only biological women can have powers is like a metaphor, because it's not a metaphor, it's like literally like anti-trans stuff, but just with magic added to it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It is a little better than like Kevin's stuff, which was just like, add a book to the syllabus. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
I talked to my roommates and I saved the day.
Yeah.
Now they aren't transphobic.
I feel like, though, this gets dropped in at a time, and then, like, you know, Mel and Maggie are all like, oh, we're so sorry. It's like, this is still someone who currently kidnapped your sister and now has her in a situation where she might die. Like, I don't feel like you should be that forgiving of this person right yet.
Yeah, I mean, it does. Yeah, it's a little bit hard to kind of transition from one to the other, but at least, like, they're not heartless about it. I mean, it's good that they're like, all right, let's try and fix this situation. I guess they're trying to understand why she's so desperate about this.
Maybe next time, don't start with kidnapping.
Yeah, it could be. So Maggie's like, well, how would you get them out if Jordan wasn't cursed? And so she starts mentioning a bunch of ingredients, even though she just tried to grab the bag in the first place to get them out, but now there's some sort of spell involved.
Yeah, it's strange.
Yeah, and they're like, well, this sounds like black magic. And she's like, no, this isn't black magic. This is based in Brujeria, which is the basis of their magic, which I think is like witchcraft in Spanish, if I'm not wrong. Because I think bruja is like witch.
Yeah.
So I think Brujeria would be.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, because like I said it wrong in a video recently, where it said Bruja, and
yeah.
I just wasn't thinking that how it should be said Bruja.
Yeah, I think it's been a while since they've started going into like the different national, like international magic, different cultural magic.
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember them. This was something they would bring up more often in early seasons, or the season 1, and then I don't know how much in season 2 it came up. Anyway, it's kind of interesting. So, Maggie and Mel are wondering how many other magic relatives they don't know about. What else was their mom hiding? She's never hid a relative from them before.
Yeah, I thought it was weird. They were talking about all these things their mom hid from them. They don't mention Macy.
Yeah. Like,
you know, probably the biggest thing she hid from you.
I feel like the moms on both versions of Charmed get worse and worse with time because they have to keep adding things retroactively that they hid, and it's like, what was their moms doing?
Yeah.
Terrible.
In a lot of original Charmed, I think a lot of it got tacked onto Grandma Ghost.
Yeah, she's kind of, I don't think, she was horrible no matter what.
Oh yeah, she was horrible, but it's like they kept adding to it. It's like, here's another horrible thing she did.
She was a horrible monster all along. Back with Harry and Abigail, they're bitching at each other. And then during the bitch fight, Abigail finds a box in the floor. Like, she throws the floorboard aside, and there's a box in it. She opens it up, there's this purple amulet.
And like, boom, smoke rock every day.
Yeah, she touches it like a dummy. Like, she's like, oh, what's this? And like, even Harry's like, we don't know what it does.
Why the hell did you do that?
They touch it, they blast back, and the weed amulet's got them. They're like, whoa, man, everything's cool.
Harry holds up a Harry 420 sign. And Abigail's like, that's the first time I've ever seen someone do that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Harry 24/7. The only thing Harry can think to test this out, like, he's like, I think this thing's making us kind of unemotional and chill. Here, I'm gonna grab a hot poker. Place this next to my face, please. Why?
That's what you do.
Why would that be the first place you go to?
Shove this fire poker near my face.
Abigail, person I trust.
Yeah.
So she puts it next to his face, and he's just like, hey, I'm not really worried about this. I don't have any, like, panic or anything. Like, I'm logical about this. It's turned us into Vulcans, I guess.
We are now robots.
Yeah.
This does not compute. We do not have the bandwidth for this.
Boop, 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 boop. So it turns out this amulet was what was keeping Fenric at bay, and this kind of disappoints Abigail, because Fenric was telling them that, like, he learned through meditation to control his demon side, all this other stuff, and she feels this is kind of a loss. Like, she's
like, I was really looking forward to that meditation.
Yeah. she's like, well, maybe this could be a solution. Maybe this weed amulet could maybe be something to help me control my demon side.
Take a hit off this rock every day.
Yeah, this could be something. So Mel, Maggie, and Josefina, they're in the bunker. The bag is melting now. So they're trying to cool this off. Mel, at some point, Mel is like throwing her frost powers at it, like, come on, gotta cool it off. Then we get back to Macy and Jordan in Afghanistan. Jordan's trying to save his translator. And they have the most, like, kind of cliched, like, he goes over to him and he's just like, hey, thanks for helping me get my green card. I gotta go on my last mission before my new life. Hope everything goes great. And before he doesn't even get in the car, he just gets shot.
I thought it was weird too, like as he's dying in Jordan's arms tonight, you just see randos walking around like nothing's wrong.
I don't know, what? it's a war zone, maybe they just that stuff happens.
They're like on the base though. They're not gonna just be like, oh, someone just got shot, let's casually walk around.
It might be they're used to hearing gunfire and didn't know someone got shot.
I don't know. I think it's just because they didn't want anyone to actually come and be in the scene.
That's also part of it. There's a way of writing the scene without going like, like within the span of a minute. Haha, but it is the last mission. I must go on my last mission before my new life. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. It's definitely a casualty of not having enough time for anything meaningful to be done here. So it just comes off kind of silly.
Yeah, this could have been a good story, too, because there were a lot of stories like this coming from Afghanistan with people and their translators building relationships that way and getting green cards. And, like, there's interesting relationships between them that, like, could have been a really good part of Jordan's backstory. But, I mean, we just don't have enough time to really care. And the story that they give us is, like, it's so by the numbers, like it just could have been more.
Yeah, we have like a minute of this guy, I think, before he gets shot, like barely even that.
Yeah, like you feel for Jordan, but he only gets like a few seconds. Like he's a wreck about it, and Macy comes over and she's trying to like help him out, but like she immediately afterwards you see like Mortimer Muffins over there, and then they both take off, so they don't really get any time to process any of this in the story. Yeah,
it's just immediately here's the next thing, and then that overshadows this moment a lot.
Yeah, well, and I also feel like if the themes with Jordan in this episode, the PTSD versus like can you be angry and connecting over race and all that, it's a lot of stuff to parse. And the stuff with like what happened to him in Afghanistan, I think it's overshadowed a little bit because they don't really go into it after that.
No, because it's all about the Mortimer Muffins stuff after this.
Yeah, it does tie in a little bit to, I suppose, ending the cycle of violence. He does talk about that, so that could tie into that at least. Yeah. But yeah, just not a lot of time. Yeah, so they see Mortimer Muffins. There's like a door just standing in the middle of the desert, and
I wish there was more stuff like that, honestly, like the weird doors and stuff, like this kind of fractured mind thing.
Yeah, it's interesting seeing in what was this, mid-2000s, the time period in Afghanistan for him.
Yeah,
somewhere around then, seeing like 2000s. Afghanistan, and then whatever time period Mortimer Muffins is from, just standing there with a door in the middle of nowhere, being all evil and mustachy.
Yeah.
He does look a little comical, but...
He does. Like, they meet him back up on, like, the stage in the high school, which is another thing. It's like, so we have, like, two locations, high school and this desert. It's kind of like that other one where they were doing the weird fractured world where it was just the house and safe space.
Yeah, they only had a few locations, but, I mean, it is at least kind of blending things together. Like, if you only have two sets, kind of an interesting way to do it.
I wish there was more to this than what we saw, and I wish everything didn't feel safe, I guess, in a way. Like, I wish there was more worry about what was behind every door, like what part of his life this might lead to.
It just feels like setting it on the stage is because they had to do it, but there's nothing in the script or nothing that kind of connects to it in any way, doing the stage production of it. Yeah. I feel like if this episode had just focused on inside Jordan's mind and his story, and they'd had time for all of this stuff and like some real production put into this. It could be weaving through the high school, weaving through Afghanistan. Maybe you see some soldiers walking through the school just with the students at points, or other things sort of mixing together from his life, or like going into his boxing studio and stuff like that. And then you get to this climax where it's this play in different acts about his life, and you get different people from the show maybe playing different parts. Like Mel and Maggie are also there, but they're playing different parts in the play, and you could get some really interesting stuff there while he's working these issues out in his head, because that's what this is supposed to be.
You definitely could. And like, I feel like the ending, like, I don't dislike it even being on the stage. It's just, I don't like the presentation of what they did in the episode.
No, they're just standing on the stage.
Yeah, and it's all flatly lit. Like, you see everything. Like, I wish you had some dramatic, spotlights on the things that were going on to highlight each moment and have some more tension behind it. Like, he feels like a need to jump in at some point to stop this from going the way it did before. And because it's just him and Macy standing up in the audience spot with the chairs, like going, oh, well, this is what's going on. Like, they don't seem worried. They feel like they have all the time in the world to do something or not. Yeah,
it's real weak. They could have thrown in a musical number or two.
Yeah,
get Maggie in there and do it real like Riverdale style, right? Put on a whole big production here.
Yeah.
Get some Buffiness in here, maybe. Mention Buffy again.
Yeah.
I don't know. They could have done something. But the fact that it's on a stage, that just happens to be where they are. It just plays out like it did before, except on a stage, like you said, flatly lit. There's no like dramatic lighting to it, in front of a curtain, which feels a little weird too, because you don't usually do the play in front of the curtain. The curtain opens up, and then you do it on the stage.
Mm-hmm. Again, like, it's kind of like that red curtain too. You could, if you're gonna have the curtain there, you could at least have some weird imagery going on behind it, like with lights.
Oh, like shadows and stuff?
Yeah, kind of like the Black Lodge.
Oh man, they could have done, they'd have like the shadows playing on the curtains with like the war stuff happening in the background, or something.
Stuff like that. Yeah, fractured memories from his life, stuff like that going on.
First aid kits flying through the air.
Definitely have that.
Yeah. The audience instead of flowers like bouquets, they throw first aid kits.
Yeah. That would have been amazing if once this was done, audience is suddenly there, ovation first aid kits.
Yeah. Very good.
We've tried nothing and we're all out of ideas.
The dummy twins and Josefina, they're trying to figure out how to get them out of there. Maggie's like, we know this fortification spell, but we couldn't quite figure out how to complete it. And they're like, we could use some Brujeria to complete it. So they need Josefina's help for that. We get another scene of Abigail and Harry talking stuff out, but they're all chill this time. Like, hey, let's talk about this logically, huh?
Yeah.
That's when Fenric the Vile shows up, and he's got the translation, and he's like, all right, I'm going to give it to you if you kill Abigail, Harry.
And then he does, and we're all happy. The end.
Yay! So he still wants to be ruler of the demon underworld, and he's like, all right, so do this, Harry. Do it, do it, do it!
And Harry's like, well, explain it to me logically, baby.
Apparently we're supposed to be worried for Abigail. They leave us hanging on this one. So we go back to Maggie, Mel, and Josefina, trying to figure out. I always want to say it, Josefina, like, put some gusto into it, like, Josefina! Like, I don't know if, like, it sounds weird, like, when people who aren't Italian are, like, they overemphasize the Italian words, Like,
calzone!
Calzone! It's like, does Josefina sound weird, or should we say Josefina? I don't know. Let us know in the comments. Do we sound like weirdos? I feel like they just said Josefina, unless they were saying Josefina the whole time, and then we're like, we just misunderstood, but I'm pretty sure I heard her say Josefina. Anyway. So they're trying to figure out this fortification spell. Josefina decides she's going to take this time for some self-reflection. Like, they're going to die, and we're running out of time. And she's like, what if I'm not a real witch?
Yeah.
What if I can't do this?
And place.
we cannot pause right now. We will talk about this later.
Macy
the bag is literally melting.
To die. Like, one of our sisters and an acquaintance, I guess. I don't know. Do we call him?
What do we feel about Jordan at this point? Does Maggie care about him anymore?
Yeah,
it's the year of Maggie.
Ticking clock here.
So Macy and Jordan, they chase Mortimer Muffins back to the school. For people who don't remember, Mortimer Muffins, by the way, that's the nickname that we have for Jordan's ancestor that cursed him. I don't know if we explain that again. That's not his real name, but that's what we're calling him.
I feel like when he confronts him, too, that should have felt more powerful.
This has been his story for a season and a half.
Yeah.
And, like, this is the culmination of it, and it does feel weak.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like they're trying to wrap it up because they're like, we don't know what else to do with the storyline. Because
it's fine to wrap it up, but give it some punch.
His story could have not changed at all without this curse, just by virtue of him being a good person helping people out. It just doesn't, like, there were some things with the ghost, okay, but, like, for the most part, it's like, well, I mean, if he decided not to help out because there wasn't a curse, then he's just kind of a dick, right? But it seems like he's a good enough person that he wants to help.
Yeah.
I'm assuming he'll continue to help.
Mm-hmm. You imagine next episode, like, curse is over, see ya!
Not my problem! Yo, that sounds like your problem.
Peace out, witches.
That'd be so funny. So yeah, they chase him back to the school. Jordan's having some PTSD. He's kind of freaking out still. And Macy's like, well, you don't want to face Mortimer Muffins because you don't want to get angry. And they start getting into what we've talked about before, the fact that he feels like he has to be exceptional all the time. Like, he can't be angry. Because that gives into what people expect. And also, like, I feel like for Black people in particular, there's also this danger in being angry. Because sometimes people are looking for any excuse. So yeah, that's what they're talking about. And Macy is like, well, you should be angry because you have the right to be angry. Like, you know, you don't have to just keep carrying this burden all the time. Like, I know how you feel.
You too, Macy. What?
But it's this catharsis for both of them because like she was being angry because he wasn't being angry. It's like, feel angry, feel something.
Yeah. Just think of that ex-girlfriend of yours and get angry.
Yeah. What is this? They talk about his high school girlfriend, but his girlfriend that he may or may not still have, still not a mention. Yeah. All right, man.
Yeah, when I think of her, just get so angry. That's why I just left and never called her again.
Yeah.
Does she still think you're going out? I don't know.
She's like, I have the right to be angry. You were a jerk.
Get out of my mind in a bag.
Look, she stole my first aid kit, okay? And then she stole my sweat.
I can't even with people take my first aid kit.
Ah!
I'm in need of a guilt remover spell.
So, alright, so they follow Mortimer Muffins and company. They're putting on a school play about his curse, and then the witch that got killed and cursed him, she's like begging him to balance the scales of justice.
Kill him!
Do it! Back with Harry and Abigail, he's debating whether to kill her or not. They're all sort of having this logical conversation about it. He's like, well, she sort of keeps the demon world at bay. And Fenric's like, yeah, but like, I could keep the demon world in line with logic. It's like, well, at this point, they know that this amulet does it, so like, why would he be any better of a choice than Abigail? Like, logically, they would all be equally logical.
If you just get her doped up on rock, I guess she'd be logical too.
Yeah, they would just be equally logical. And Abigail's like, yeah, sure, this makes sense. Kill me, bro. Sure.
And he's like, well, if there's no objections.
All right. Wouldn't that be hilarious? He did it and then Fenric's in charge and that's how the show goes.
Yeah. All right.
This might be some of her emotions actually seeping in. She has been trying to kill herself subconsciously a lot lately, so maybe that's part of it.
Yeah. they've acted like it's kind of separate a lot of the time, but yeah, maybe this is the first time her whole self admitting there's something like that going on.
Yeah, I think like she thinks like if she dies, the world might be a better place. I think that's part of what her logic in her mind. Yeah. But Harry decides not to, because the episode's got to end sometime. And he just yoinks the translation easily from Fenric the Vile's hands.
Yeah.
He's like, I'll take that, goodbye. And then they orb out.
Yeah. He's like, what are you going to do, kill me? And Abigail goes, no, we're going to do worse, leave you here. No! He does the big no.
He does the no. This was such a stupid, easy ending to this.
Yeah, like, act like it's really like, oh no, I have to make the choice, translation or Abigail. It's like, actually, why not both? Easy out.
Actually, no. Yoink,
yeah.
bye.
It's like, you can't.
There's not even a struggle. He literally just walks over and gently grabs it from him.
Yeah.
It's not even like he kind of jerks away and he has to quickly grab it. It's just like, yeah, thanks, bye.
Yeah, and they stand there and explain it to him first for a bit, like, we're gonna leave you here. Like,
all right.
Foiled!
Yeah, his no at the ending kind of seemed like an emotion to me.
Yeah.
What if he did it unemotionally? Yeah. What if he was just like, no.
No.
No. Oh, bother.
Doesn't matter anyway.
Pooh the Vile.
Eeyore.
Eeyore. Oh, does he say oh? No, oh, bother is Pooh.
Oh, yeah, but I was doing Eeyore, I guess.
Oh, I see. We were doing two different impressions here. See, Eeyore would be depression, and then Pooh would be what? Greed? Which of the 7 deadly sins do they stand for?
Bother. Double bother.
Anyway, so Jordan stands up to Mortimer Muffins. They get into an old-fashioned fisticuffs match. Yeah. Mortimer Muffins must have been a trained boxer, too. He holds his own against Jordan, who really should have been kicking his ass, because I feel like old-timey mustache man probably not going to do too well against, like, Afghanistan war vet who's a trained boxer.
Then Jordan goes for a big punch, and then Mortimer Muffins holds up a first aid kit.
No!
His one weakness.
It's his Achilles heel. Jordan's like, well, I can end the curse by killing you, but that's not gonna end this cycle of violence that killed the men in my family. So I can't change the past, but I can change the future. I can stop this here. And it turns out that's what he needed to do. The witch lady whispers something in his ear and disappears, and the curse is ended!
Yeah. It's like, there's a big, thing looked over. Like, he does kind of yell at the witch a little bit for, causing the premature death of so many people in his family, but it's glanced over pretty large. And just, like, a 30-second speech convinces her of that, too. Like, oh yeah, it's kind of wrong to kill all those people that weren't responsible for my death all these years. My bad. Curse over.
In order to make up for the fact that that his family was cursed because she was killed by this Witchfinder general guy, all he had to do was not kill anyone.
Yeah.
Did men in his family kill people?
Well, they didn't make a 30-second speech to her in a mind bag.
To say, like, you have to balance the scales of justice to end this curse, and what does that mean? Like, he thought it meant, like, go out and, like, kill demons or whatever, but that's just continuing the cycle of violence.
Yeah, but that's what he was being made to do by her in her little
She told him to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's not balanced anything. She's way off balance with what she's done.
Now she's gonna have a curse of her own.
Did it make any sense to you that this was the actual witch either? Because everything else was fake up to this point.
Yeah, I mean, it might have been a visual representation of what was happening. Like, that's because he was cursed, that's all that was needed to lift the curse. Like, it wasn't necessarily the witch, that's just, like, in his mind, the visualization of the curse being lifted.
I thought the actual witch had to lift the curse and think his mind could do it.
Well, I mean, he did what was required to lift the curse, so I guess maybe just magically it went away.
Yeah, but if he didn't convince the actual witch, what changed anything?
Well, because they don't have to, like... Because you can lift curses and spells by saying the right spell or doing the thing that ends it. You don't necessarily need to hang out with the person who cast the spell, right?
But, so the witch who doesn't seem like this would be her solution at all was said, like, if he just chooses to be good, it's over, which is kind of what he is doing anyway.
This feels like we were saddled with this from season 2 and we don't want to do it anymore. The end. It's sort of, it had potential to be something, but it's just too quick and easy.
Yeah. I feel like there could have been some revelation too, that this was at least the actual witch or something somehow in here as well. And that would also have given it more weight.
Why would she be in the magic bag, though?
I don't know, but that's the way the episode acted like it was. They just acted like this was the actual witch.
Yeah, that's true. She's a ghost. She could be anywhere.
Yeah.
You gonna tell her where to go?
I ain't afraid of no ghosts.
I don't know. Maybe she was hanging out in his head the whole time.
Yeah.
Like you have a witch ghost in your head and through generations.
She's inside his mind.
I have no idea. So Harry and Abigail are at Abigail's place and she's acting smug. They're talking about how the amulet wouldn't have worked anyway because there's no shortcuts to redemption. You gotta do it yourself. Harry needs to use her elevator to leave for some reason.
Yeah, that didn't make any sense.
How did he just orb out?
Yeah, I'm gonna slowly take the elevator so that I can tell you stuff as the doors close. It's the only reason he does that.
Yeah. I don't know. It was aight. So then we have Macy and Jordan in the backyard. I guess the others got them out of the bag off screen. We don't see that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think they got the key. Yeah, they got the key, so they did nothing.
So they were just sitting around doing nothing until they got themselves out. This whole Brujeria stuff meant nothing.
They accomplished nothing. It was just Jordan and Macy that got themselves out.
What was the fortification spell supposed to do? Just make sure that it didn't melt? Maybe that's what they were doing?
Yeah, I guess they're just trying to keep the bag from overheating.
That's what fortification would mean, right? I thought they were trying to get them out, but maybe that was it. Just help them survive till they solved it themselves.
Yeah, just get the magic fan on the bag.
Yeah, I guess so. So they're bonding with each other over their shared experiences. We talked about that earlier in the podcast. Scroll back through the episode and maybe scrub through the podcast. Refresh yourself. You'll be quizzed on the topic at the end.
Go inside your mind bag.
Jordan's like, so are we gonna be friends now? And they find out that they can touch because the curse has ended, so they have a nice hug.
Yeah.
I thought they were gonna kiss. It kind of seems like they were like getting a little close in the scene.
Just see Harry in the window crying.
Oh. Honestly, like what they've been doing with Harry and Macy right now, like the Jordan and Macy stuff had more chemistry, to be honest. But I think it's just like they're in a weird place with Harry and Macy. I think they can steer it out of it, but right now they've been super boring.
Mm-hmm. Well, there was one time where we liked them together.
We did. I wish they went back to that, because I think it'd be nice. So yeah, they have a nice hug. I'm glad they didn't go in a romantic way with Jordan and Macy, though, because it is nice to see a platonic friendship in this show, and not like a weird, like, I'm using you, jerking you around thing that seems to be going on with Maggie, because her and Jordan, it's kind of shitty.
Yeah, it's both of them too. It's like
he was shitty too with his girlfriend for sure.
Yeah, we don't know. We still don't know with that. That's still weird. This show's never addressed that. But yeah, now she's just being a jerk if he's single. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it seems like they're actually friends, unlike him and Maggie.
Yeah, I don't see. They barely have any interaction together now that they're not romantic. Maybe that says something about their relationship, and that they didn't really have a lot in common, except for when they were dating, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. So, Josefina's leaving. She's like, hey, sorry, buds. Sorry about that.
Sorry about the kidnapping and almost murder.
Well, bye. And Maggie's like, hey, you can stay, though, if you want. So welcome to the cast. So I guess she's going to be a thing now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm kind of interested to see what they'll do with her. She did some dumb stuff in this episode, but it was supposed to be dumb. So I don't know. I'm interested to see what her character's like, because I don't think we have a good grasp on who she is yet. But
not the best way to try and ingratiate you to a new character. That's going to be a permanent one, though.
Yeah, but people make mistakes. She could be fine. I don't know. You could almost kill someone. Yeah. Well, the kidnapping wasn't accidental. The murder was almost accidental.
Yeah, the murder was almost accidental.
The kidnapping was on purpose.
That was
who hasn't kidnapped their cousin?
Yeah.
Who hasn't kidnapped their cousin when they're trying to steal a book?
Yeah.
Happens.
Look, I'm just gonna hold someone hostage. Give me a buck.
Yeah, that's why I thought she was younger, because it kind of seems like something like a dumb kid would do, but and she does look pretty young, but I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, we'll see what she's like. I mean, we liked their dad, so sometimes they have relatives that were like, yeah, they're kind of cool. Let's see what they're doing.
Then they have Marisol.
Can't all be winners. So yeah, she's on the cast. Harry is translating the tablet, and Macy shows up, and Harry's like, yeah, the tablet, whatever, but now I know I won't understand what it's like to be a black woman. Yeah, but the tablet, maybe we could... I just don't understand what it's like to be you, Macy.
She's like, I just needed you to say that.
It was just kind of weird to be like, what'd the tablet say? Yes, I understand now, everything. I'll never understand what it's like to be you. And it's like, okay, but she was asking about this tablet.
Yeah.
That kind of is important, though. Like, yes, this is very nice and sweet, but this is kind of important.
They always do this, though. They act like the important thing can be put on hold. And they're like, well, I got to go to school. I don't care if one of my sisters is dying.
They don't know how to integrate these things into scenes where stuff, like, you don't want to, like, halt something, or, like, it's good that they're trying to integrate things together, but it's like they just stop in the middle of a scene to do something and then go to the next plot thing.
Yeah, you can have their normal life happening, but you don't just have, like, someone in peril and then them go, well, I need to do real life right now, though.
Yeah. I don't know. It's nice that he says, I won't understand what it's like to be you because I can't have the same experiences, and I understand that. And I think, like, that's important in relationships, especially interracial relationships, to be like, there's just some things you inherently cannot understand from not living those experiences. You just have to be there for them and listen to them. So you can't just be the expert on everything.
And then Harry goes, but it's not easy to be me.
And he does that. They do the hands in the air allergy thing again, and, like, it stops having any meaning when you just keep doing it, when they hold their hands in front of each other with the little sparks.
Yeah, it's like, Harry phone home.
Yeah. All right, this episode's starting to run long. Let's wrap this up.
Yeah.
So, all right, we do need to still translate that tablet, so how about we do that? So, Macy, like, reads off some stuff, he reads off some stuff, the tablet glows, and then, oops, all scorpions! There's scorpions all over the place!
Yeah. Like, besides the very beginning when Josefina throws them in the bag, you get, like, 2 shots of, like, Jordan and Macy with her right at the end with the scorpions. Yeah. Like, they don't converse at all about the fact she threw them in that bag.
Yeah, maybe they should discuss this stuff. But that's the end of the episode. Phelan, who's your Margoyle? Tough choice.
Yeah.
I think I know who you're gonna go for, but...
I'm gonna go with the witch.
Which witch?
The witch, what did we ever learn her? The one that cursed Jordan.
Oh, the witch that cursed Jordan? I don't remember her name.
Yeah.
That one, okay.
Yeah, is that
No, I thought you were gonna go with Josefina, honestly.
I was close with that, but honestly, I'm thinking about how dumb that was. That is just like she killed all these people in his family for all these years. And then all she really needed was him to go, hey, why don't we just stop this? Let's all be cool.
Why can't we be friends? All right.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, curse done.
Hey, well, how about we don't kill people? Oh, all right.
Yeah, so easily solved.
It's pretty dumb. I'm gonna go with... Because I think, like, probably the dumbest actions were from Josefina. I don't particularly find her a loser. I just think, like, she's dumb.
What she did in this episode, though, starting out.
It was kind of dumb, but I think the standout loser to me is Mortimer Muffins. It's just by virtue of being Mortimer Muffins. It's not anything in particular that he does. He's just a silly old-timey man with a mustache, and that's very funny to me. And especially because he's so important to Jordan's story. But it's just so silly. Yeah. He's just so silly looking.
Snidely Whiplash looking guy.
Yeah, you might as well be like, I trained at Harvard. I'll fight you.
So we got both sides of Jordan's little feud there. It's the standout losers.
Yeah, real Margoyle family.
Yeah.
Which I guess makes Jordan the winner of the episode. What's the opposite of a Margoyle? The Cargoyle is the winner of the episode. Who's the Margoyle? Who's the Cargoyle? Yeah, who's the Carman? Is Carman a Cargoyle? Is Carman a winner, or would he be? I feel like he would have been a Margoyle a lot if we'd been doing Margoyle during this season.
He was the winner in the fact that we turned him into something when he was nothing.
If we ever think of a winner in an episode, I guess it'll be the Carman. Who's the Carman? So overall, what are your feelings on this episode?
A few good ideas, but executed poorly. They mushed too much together and sped through some things that could have been done. Much better if they had been given time.
Yeah, I think it was just too rushed. I liked some of the ideas. I just feel like this could have been 3 separate episodes, so... I didn't hate it, it's just, I don't think it's very, it doesn't give me a lot of satisfaction watching it.
I think, too, I don't know, if you're gonna have Josefina throw them in the bag and accidentally endanger Macy and Jordan's life, she needs to be more apologetic about it. Like,
they probably should have had a denouement with the 2 of them, perhaps.
Yeah.
The 3 of them, I mean.
Because, like, the way they just blow by it in the episode bothered me.
Yeah, they should have. Again, that comes down to a time issue. Like, there's lots of things they could have done there that they didn't. They could have introduced Josefina in one episode and then have her be kind of sneaky. Like, you think like, oh, this is cool, but she's hiding something. She's really trying to steal the Book of Shadows, and it turns out she like doesn't trust their family, but she was trying to steal it. And then the end of the episode, she ends up accidentally trapping those 2 in the purse. And then you get the purse episode. And then by the end of that, you get like the wrap up where they discuss all these issues, what she had, the problems she had with the family, her own personal story, stuff like that. And then the Abigail Harry stuff could have been its own separate thing, not necessarily connected to that.
I think you should have planted her in the background as someone at the school first, and then suddenly she's important. I mean, it could have almost been like...
She could have been Kevin, right?
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. She could have basically been Kevin. You think she's not that important, then, you know, suddenly you find out she's their cousin. And all this gets explained.
You think that they were thinking about doing something like that with Kevin, and then they're like, we don't like this, so we're going to do something else?
Possibly, yeah.
Maybe. I feel like it's noteworthy that they have 2 trans actors in the main cast or supporting cast. I guess they're not main characters per se of a show. And for a mainstream show to have that, and not a show that's specifically focused on LGBT stuff, because I think like maybe Pose or some other shows might have had that, but I don't know. I feel like that's noteworthy. It's just Kevin really hasn't done anything. So I guess some points? I think that about wraps it up for the 50th episode of Schwab. Whoa, what an exciting time.
That's why we went long. Yeah, that's totally why.
Extra long, jam-packed, action-packed episode of Schwab.
Let's end it.
Let's end it. All right. if you guys enjoyed our 50th episode celebration, you could give us a congratulatory like or subscribe or review. You can find us in audio form at anchor.fm or other podcast playing places under Charmed Hard with a Vengeance or Charmed Rewind. You can find us on YouTube under youtube.com/Movie Nights the Series or youtube.com/Phelix. You can support our stuff on Patreon at patreon.com/Movie Nights or patreon.com/Phelis. Thanks to Peter Hunter for editing the podcast for us, and you can find him on Twitter at PretorHunter. Phelan, what hashtags should we use?
Hashtag mindbag.
Hashtag Quantum Jordan. Hashtag Happy 50th, Schwab! Alright guys, I think they're doing yet another break after the last week break. And then continuing on the 25th or something. Are they changing days of the week? No, that's a Sunday. I think sometime soon they might be changing days of the week. I don't know if I made that up in my head, but sometime in the near future, Charmed might be on a different day of the week. Yeah, but for now, we're going to be heading out, so we'll see you next week, Charmanders. Bye!